Alrighty, Shalom, Shalom, Israel. I want to start by giving all glory and praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. My brother, I'm one for down to be Florida from the camp properties of Babylon. Going to the quick aid to the spirit by BAHASHAM. Lord wanted to edify and feed the sheep. The bond said I was an apostle, great MILLSTONE, teach you well. Peace and blessings to the brothers who push this work and truth and sincerity to the sky, the broad. Alright, and I want to do this lesson. Alright, I wanted to title this lesson, Afflicting the Flesh Matters. Okay, afflicting the flesh matters. Alright, and what inspired me to do this lesson through the spirit was a diet that me and Akim was going on. Alright, with just eating fruits, okay, and juicing. Okay, and this led to have the spirit to be increased through the affliction that we are putting amongst, this flesh. All right, because you can see the little benefits here and there as you continue to afflict this flesh. All right, you will see more and more. All right, day by day, of course, but you will see that this flesh being afflicted opens up doors. All right, opens up that window and allows the spirit, all right, to do its thing more. Okay, because as we know, scripture says, being in his flesh, all right, the spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. Okay, and the things that we desire to do in the spirit, all right, the flesh gives us a hard time to do. All right, which we see, every time you are trying to, probably get a fast in or get a read in, or even just during prayer. You're all right. You gotta, or you just got off of work, or you just got done doing something. All right, and you try to get a prayer, and the flesh might have it where it try to make you so tired that you go to sleep, and you end up missing up on, doing what you usually do in your routine. Okay. And that's just something that we battle with in this flesh. All right, being though we want to do those things that's beneficial for the spirit. All right, but this is a daily battle, man. Okay, and I'm gonna grab a couple of scriptures, but just the spirit, so I'm gonna just, really just, go into it, man. All right, for you brothers, that's, battling certain, things in the mind. All right. Whatever it might so be, all right, a good way to tackle on that demon or tackle on those thoughts or that flesh is to afflict it by doing certain things. You can go and exercising, okay, going for a jog, running, hitting a sauna, all right, lifting some weights, okay, because when you're putting this flesh under so much affliction, because that's what you're doing, you're taming it, all right, and you're putting it under pain, so to speak, man. All right, when you're running, you're exhausting the flesh, okay, to where it has no need to want to, seek elsewhere, okay, or try to get you to, do anything else. You're exhausting the flesh. All right, when you're lifting weights, you are, straining it for wanting to do any thing that's the flesh. All right, you brothers know the point. I'm getting into. All right, but this is the things you do, afflicting it, which cause it to pretty much just submit to the spirit. All right, I don't want to ramble too much. Just grab the scriptures. All right, that come to mind. All right, this is I grabbed this. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 17. It says, "For the very true beginning of her, which is wisdom, is the desire of discipline, and the care of discipline is love." All right, and when you have this the desire to discipline yourself, you're right. You just know that that's you being in the spirit, man. Okay, because you wanting to discipline yourself through the wisdom, understanding, knowledge, really to correct those things that this flesh has overly indulged in. Okay, when you're applying the scriptures to your life. All right, this wisdom, understanding, knowledge gives us the access, all right, to operate the right way, and be stress free in a way, all right, because we're knowing that we're doing these things in the spirit. And when you discipline yourself, you feel a lot better. All right, whether you running a 5K mile, all right, or rather you exercising, okay, or whatever it might be that you might do. Those are all things that's a part of disciplining yourself, which goes a far way within this truth. It goes a long way, all right, within this truth. Discipline is a major part. And that's a part of being a disciple. All right, to discipline yourself. Those go into the same thing. Okay, so you gotta have the desirement of discipline. Okay, and you gotta make the best of it. All right, it don't gotta always be something where you just beating yourself all the way over across your head, man. Nah, man, it could be something that's step by step. You taking it day by day. Getting to read in, fasting, or cutting back on things that you might have noticed that your flesh might have has overly indulged in. Okay, that you really haven't noticed. All right, and some things you might do. Some brothers might overly indulge in drinking, and then you have to examine yourself. Or some brothers might have to cut back on certain things besides drinking. It could be food. It could be TV time. All right, I'm just trying to touch up on certain things that could come to mind. All right, because it ain't really too much we do, or it ain't too much we can do, or it ain't too much that we really can do. But brothers do find a way to have a balance. All right, and before you know it, being in this flesh over time, it could want to do it more and more, which that's something that we having this truth work on, making sure that this flesh doesn't overly indulge. Okay, because the scripture also says how it goes. Let me see, so I can bear with me. Let me see if I can type it in. Because if I can't find it, which is on my spirit to find it, but if I can't find it, I'm just roughly quote it. Okay. Let me see. And it's all the spirit, man, because we being in this flesh, yeah, you can find yourself doing certain things that are just a bit too much, and sometimes you gotta take some time to sit back and say, what, hey, maybe I don't need this right here for a while. Let me go on a fast from it. Let me put this down for a while. Let me just see what it come out of this once I discipline myself from it, and then you have intemperance with it, of course, bringing balance back to it, just balance things out, you see. But I can't find it at this moment. All right, but it's going into just being over righteous, man. All right, not to be over righteous in things that we do, but at the same time, making sure that we ain't just doing too much. Okay, because it is certain things that we can't do, and certain things that we just know that's not profitable for this, for the spirit, and that's where discernment comes in, and you see, okay, these things are not beneficial. what it is beneficial. Okay, so just looking at that, it all goes back to where discipline plays a huge part. Okay, and having a balance with it. Okay, let's see. All right, because the point is afflicting the flesh. Okay, the point of this lesson is afflicting the flesh. All right, and the benefits of it, reaps way more than we can ever even imagine when you're afflicting it. All right, so let's go to the book of 2 Corinthians, I believe. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 16. All right, and it reads, "For which cause we faint not, but though our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day." And that's that's every day. This outward man perishing. All right, when you are afflicting this flesh, all right, your outward man is suffering. And that's what we want. We want this flesh to suffer, man, in a way that it reaps benefit for the spirit, as it says in the inward man. All right, is renewed day by day. All right, because the more we take him, step by step in that process, we get closer to YAHAWASHI and walking more in the spirit. And it's not an easy thing. You're battling you're battling things that you have did for years. All right, things that you have gotten comfortable with for years. You're battling that, and you're correcting it through this wisdom, understanding, knowledge. All right, through the spirit, prayer about YAHAWASHI. All right, you're correcting these things, okay, so that you can ultimately be close as possible to being perfect. Okay, and that takes years on, all right, to fix. Now, some things, yeah, you can fix, okay, a lot quicker than others. Or some things that you do, all right, that can take a little bit longer. Okay, and it's all of the spirit, man. Okay, some brothers might have it where years, they've been having problems with certain things for years. All right, and they just now starting to overcome it. Just now. Okay, I'm not saying this for every brother or sister. Okay, but just there's a process. That's what I'm getting to. Okay, so though the outward man perished, the inward man is renewed day by day, and that's a process. It says, verse 17, "For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory." So the suffering that we're dealing with, all right, that we're putting this flesh through so that we can walk more in the spirit, that we can be closer to YAHAWASHI, is working a far more, okay, weight, an exceeding weight, okay, of eternal glory. All right, so it's doing its own thing on the right hand side. Okay, while you afflicting this flesh, okay, it's far more exceeding an eternal weight of glory that we're about to receive. All right, for afflicting ourselves daily, for suffering and patiently, okay, daily. All right, there's a reward that's coming behind what we're suffering for. Okay, we're suffering for salvation, man. We're suffering for our brothers that we be that like. We're suffering for YAHAWASHI. Because ultimately the Lord is going to be the ones who will come and deliver us out of this flesh. You see? So there's a great reward for what we're doing and dealing with and suffering, man. And that's what we give all glory and praises to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Because eventually after the suffering, there's going to be resting. Okay? We're going to be able to rest. We're going to be able to relax. All right, we ain't going to suffer no more. We ain't going to cry no more. We ain't going to be going through these things no more, man. It's going to be already 100% established within us, and we'll never have to go through this again. And that's what we're fighting to get to, man. All right. So everything that we're, going through, it's worth it. Okay. So afflicting this flesh, and this is the depths of things when you think about it. Going to depth, it's like, yo, man, wow. You might have a moment where you're low in the spirit. You might have a moment where you're fighting that demon, man. It could be a strong demon. It could be one of those just, ones that just keep coming to mind every time you just trying to be more in the spirit. It could be that demon that just pop up and go, pop up and go, pop up and go. You brothers know, man. But all that, all right, that we deal with, it's all gonna tie in, all right, in the end, to be beneficial. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, so the point is, really made. Spirit is, started to flow. It took me here to where, hey, afflicting the flesh, it really matters, man. Okay, yeah, it humbles this flesh. Whether you, exercise, whatever it might be. Okay. When it's putting this flesh into some type of, pain or affliction or suffering, whatever how it goes, it's going to reap benefits for sure. And we know why it's going to reap benefits in the long run. So, Lord, one of those lessons edifying to you, Hakim Akawaf, seeking order, truth, and sincerity. I'm going to close it up by giving all glory and praise to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. Until next time I say, Shalom.